I'm Aria,
I'm Axel.
and this is the Axial and Aria Show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to AA. I'm Aria,
I am Axel.
and today is part two to last episode's rude. Anyways, it's part two to last episode. Um, we only have like two stories.
Yeah.
No, we only have like two stories. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
Well, don't alienate them now. Also, please ignore Gideon in my background. I was watching Criminal Minds before this, so.
um, but yeah, let's get started.
Alrighty, so the first story, or both the stories actually, are from one of our friends. Well, I know them. Alondra has not officially met them yet, but so they're the only ones that replied to my story request, but it's okay. So she sent me two different situations, and so they're broken up. So I will go ahead and just read it verbatim for what she wrote. The first one she didn't really like elaborate on, so it's a little bit shorter, but the second one she kind of did. So she said it was late in the night, around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I saw an apparition. It looked as if it was like a floating head. I thought I was seeing things. I thought it could see me, so I got scared and hid under my pillow. I basically lived in my parents' closet slash office area because it was attached to their room, so I had a straight view into their room, and it was floating past the door. This second one, I believe, is in the same house. The couple conversations that we've had about paranormal experiences, she has mentioned that she does believe that her parents' house is haunted and has had some experiences in there. So the second one says, another time I was using the computer in the dark because it was in my parents' room. It was late in the night, but not that late. I thought I heard my name being called. It sounded like a man, so I thought it was my brother. I looked around and saw no one, so I continued using the computer, and then I heard my name again. So I said, what, really strongly, because I thought it was my brother, and just being annoying. I got up and checked behind the door, but he wasn't there. So I got a little spooked, but went back to using the computer, and I heard it again, but this time it was louder and stronger than ever. Again, I yelled, what? But I knew it wasn't my brother. My heart was racing. But I continued to use the computer and try to ignore what happened and dismiss it, even though I know what I heard and no one believes me to this day. I do know some of the conversations that we have had and everything. Like her husband, Christian, doesn't really believe that, like, I don't know if I can't remember correctly. So, like, he can yell at me later. But I believe he said that he doesn't really believe in ghosts, like at all. So he kind of was just like, yeah, whatever, like, cool. And I know she was saying that, like, when they went and stayed there, he was a little bit spooked, I guess, by the vibe of the home, but never really like anything happened and everything. So those are our two stories from the fans. Well, fan. But yeah, we didn't really get anything else. No one likes spooky season. It's kind of
You were
rude.
you were speaking about like the house vibes right now, and I just remembered a story. It's actually like it's not even like a ghost story or anything.
Mm. Is it
It's
gonna be one of your stories where you tell one story but make it sound like two, but don't explain that it's one story? So then I
no,
get
it's
mad at
not.
you.
It's not like that.
Oh, before you even go
But
into it,
okay.
Jocelyn was saying that she watched the last vlog and everything. She's like, I just want you to know, I completely understood everything Alondra was talking about in her story. And she's like, it might just be a Mexican thing. And I was like, listen, clearly, as you can tell, I just have the last name. And I was just like, okay, I didn't understand it. It was not coherent to me because that's not how you tell a story. She's like, it made perfect sense to me. And I'm like, okay.
That's funny. I do need to just put like a trigger warning out there for this one. We can cut it out later if we feel like it's a little bit too much, but I
If,
won't.
it's not like we're monetized or anything.
You're
So
right. So,
if
um,
anything, if YouTube wants to be a bitch, they can take it down and it's fine.
but yeah, trigger warning. Just because this person offs themselves. So this
They
happened like
unalive.
they unalived essentially. Um, from my understanding, my godmother,
Hmm.
which on a side note is my mom's half sister on my grandpa's side, because my grandpa was a cheating whore. So, so she's my
The
half
amount of
aunt.
times we've said whore on this podcast, I'm shocked we haven't been like flagged.
Just me alone. Anyways, um,
It's your go-to word.
yes. So so she's my godmother slash half aunt, but mainly my godmother. I don't really. Anyways, so back when, like way back when, 20 years ago, she cleaned. She would clean this guy's house,
Hmm.
and this guy was like he was rich. He came from a good family,
Can't
and
relate. I mean, the rich part at least. I come from a good family.
you do. Um, and my mom would go help her clean this house, and something happened. Like,
Ow.
are you okay?
No, I'm dying. I'm so red. We're just gonna leave this in. It's fine. Sorry about that. I'm not dead.
He was about to be, but
I
he did
mean,
not.
no, I just had a dry spot.
Yeah.
My brain was like, negative, time to cough your lungs out. And I'm like, okay, thanks. All
Right.
right, proceed since you've learned new information.
So I had to go ask my mom about the story because obviously I sometimes don't have correct information. So it turns out he didn't come from a good family. Hi, Patty.
The way you walk, we started recording again. So you walked out and then stood like the emoji, like, and then continued walking. And it's fine. We do share us living space. Things like this are bound to happen.
I mean, we're gonna have her on the podcast one day, so people might as well get used to
Did you
seeing her.
forget the charger? Well, there's one in my room that's connected to my AirPods if you need it. But it's short. It's like the Apple standard. Anyway.
So it turns out this guy wasn't from a good family. He just happened to be living a good life. He would travel from Mexico like almost every week, like back and forth.
I'm glad.
She find it
Yeah.
good for her.
Night.
Night, Patty. So he would like travel between Mexico and here Arizona like almost every week.
Mhm.
And it turns out he was transporting drugs.
Oh, hot.
So that's how he was making his money. And obviously he was
Um,
loaded.
I'm not gonna lie. When you said that he was living a good life, my first thought was like cartel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems that my friends cannot escape any involvement of that life. Not that you're involved, but generationally.
Yeah. So from my understanding, he had a good house, like good cars. Like for that time, he had like wow, like watches. Like he was living a good life. And it turns out that the government, the DEA, I think it is. Well, yeah, the law enforcement was like they were catching on,
Mm.
and they were starting to look for him. And once he found out, he realized, oh shit, I'm going to go to jail for a very, 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 very long time. So his best idea was to off himself in his bathroom.
Gross.
Yeah. And and instead of getting captured by law enforcement.
Mm.
Because I mean, I guess on one side I understand, I get it, because you're involved with the cartel, you're the drug business, you get caught, it can go south. At the same time, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you probably could have worked out a deal or something, but at the same time, it still would have gone south. What do I know? Um,
I mean, but logically, if you think about it, though, even if he worked out a deal, the likelihood of his life expectancy would
it'd be
be
lowered.
drastically cut because there are some people that still play both sides and everything.
And people can say that the Mexican government is all like corrupt and everything, but it's not just them. The US government is too. You can't lie. But yeah,
That's a story for
so
another day.
yes it is. But
Next
yes.
episode, let's talk about the US government
All right.
and the history
um
of why it sucks. At me,
uh
FBI agent watching this, at me. What are you gonna
um
do? Cut my Wi-Fi?
it cuts out right now.
Right? Can you imagine? The FBI just shows up at my house like, you're not a patriot. And I'm like, I never was.
It cut out right now.
Oh, did it?
It must have been just me.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh shit.
You just hear banging. Monty barking.
But yeah, so he offed himself, and um it was my godmother who found out about all of this and obviously told my mom.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the only reason I remember it is because one time we were driving through this one neighborhood and my mom stopped in front of a house and she's like, I knew the man that used to live there. And she looked at me, she's like, she killed it. She was like, he killed himself. And I was like, okay, okay, wow, all right. Yeah,
Thanks for
but
sharing, Mom.
uh I think it was after like the crime scene investigators were there and like the crime scene people cleaned up. The family called my godmother and my mom to like finish cleaning up, like right, so they could sell the house.
Yeah, I would. Oh. There are, and I've always found this fascinating, which is probably bad, but like, because I know there are like crime scene cleaners, like there are companies that specifically are trained to handle bio waste and things like that to clean up crime scenes. And I've always wondered, like, going into it, like, do you think that they like know like what happened here, or do they just go into it like with a there is a crime, we have to clean it up, and kind of like try and decompartmentalize like the fact that they're cleaning up a crime kind of thing? Because I feel like that would start to weigh a toll on you, like just constantly cleaning up after
After people's
brutal,
crimes.
yeah, and a
Yeah.
lot of times brutal things. Like, it's not always like, and this isn't a happy-go-lucky thing, but it's not always like a simple cut and dry, like someone passed away in their sleep kind of thing. Like they're there to clean up something, and it's just
Yeah.
like I can't imagine. I want to know the psychology behind it. Like, how do they process these things? Because you don't really hear about those jobs. Like, it's kind of the same thing with like, I guess in a way, any type of like waste management. Like, you really don't hear about those jobs at all. Like, I know we're all aware of like the garbage men and women and like landfill employees and things like that. But like, I'm sure that they've seen things or have, been around things that they're like, oh my God, like that's sus. Or like,
Yeah.
crime scene cleaners and everything like that. Cause like, like you have crime scene investigators and people who are working to solve things, but like it's still pretty impersonal because it's more of just like a how did A, B, and C happen that led to D, and like trying to solve this. But like, you get put into a situation where you have to clean up that. I don't know. I wonder if they know, like they get called in, like you need to clean this up, or like we need you to clean this up. Are they aware of how this happened, or do they find out about it in the news and then they get the call kind of thing? Or like, are they advised of it? I feel like they would be though,
Yeah. I
depending
feel
on what
like,
they need to clean up.
yeah.
I like how
I feel
this
like
would
they
come
would
scary
have,
stories too.
right?
Crime
True
scene,
crime.
crime scene cleanup. Any crime scene cleanup people out there, hit me up. I want to know these things.
I think they would have to know like what, at least the brief retelling of what happened, just so that they're like prepared to go in there to
Hmm.
like know what to clean and like maybe just to know what to have like chemical wise to clean.
Well, I mean, I guess I know that there's like an Instagram that I follow. Like
There's a
I don't,
TikTok too.
yeah, that like
A bunch of them.
they'll post things and everything. And it like I've seen a couple captions where it's been like, we cleaned up a double homicide kind of thing. And I'm just like, but do you know beforehand, or
Put
are
it
you,
together.
yeah, you either put it together or do you find out about it like through news outlets and things like that? Because a lot of those things don't get reported to the news. But if it's, that sounds so insensitive. If it's serious enough, it becomes newsworthy.
Like that
Uh,
one case right now with that Gabby chick and the like the Brian guy.
I don't even want to talk about that. That whole situation pisses me off. But yes, if it becomes,
Big enough.
well, there's or sensationalized.
Hmm.
But I mean, like, honestly, if you take a look at any type of like, because it is public record, like any type of reports about crimes resulting in death, there's a lot more that go on in the day than people think, but only the ones that like have like mass casualty or involve children or women really ever get reported. I mean, like I have an app that tells me about ongoings on around me and everything, and there's shootings every hour, every 2 hours, all the time. And they're not always resulting in death, but they're always, there was a car accident, there was a shooting, someone was assaulted,
Something's always happening.
something's always happening. And it's like, it's really opened my eyes about like how much actually goes on and how much is not talked about in media at all. And like, it's sad too, because if you think about it too, like if you want to go into some like politics about it, like statistically, there are a lot of people, more so women of color, that, and this was brought up a lot about the whole Gabby situation, about the fact that her situation, as much as it should have, because missing person, um, how big it blew up and got sensationalized and everything. And there were like people coming out like, I, have a daughter, a sister, a friend that's her same age that's been missing for years or months or days, and nobody's talking about it in the same way they're talking about it. And if you break it down to, it is a lot about race. I mean, statistically, there's a lot of crime when it comes to like reservations that
Mhm.
don't really get talked about because people are like, oh, they live their own life,
There's
it's
a
not
lot.
my involvement kind of thing. And I'm just like, well, again, stole their land. We should do a lot more to protect them, but go off. But,
Yeah, there's just and yeah, there's a lot more than we
they're,
obviously know, but there's a lot of indigenous women that just go missing
no, no, it
and
just,
nobody talks about it.
makes me sad. Like, there's a lot that people can do, and a lot of it is just sharing those stories that, so it gets out there and everything, and more people are aware. And a lot of times that is best case scenario for some of these situations just because it opens it up to more eyes. But it's sad that that's kind of the world we live in, is that, and again, it is all said, any person, no matter who they are, what they look like and everything, going missing deserves the same amount of attention as the next person. But the fact that we as a country and a society prioritize a specific group of people over others, it's like, come on, guys, it's 2021 now. We really need to knock this off. Thankfully, though, a lot of that generation
It's dying.
is not going to be here for much longer. But unfortunately, there's a lot of those teachings still instilled in a lot of children that's carried over. But I think, you know, our generation definitely has its faults, but huge catalyst of change in the last few years. And like it definitely, millennials got the ball rolling, but I think at some point the torch got passed unwillingly, and it just continued. And now, I mean, you see news articles all the time, and it's like there's a labor shortage, and it's like there isn't a labor shortage. There is a shortage of people willing to be abused by their employers because that's no longer acceptable. And I'm just like, call it what you want. The truth of the matter is, reevaluate how you treat other human beings who are working for you. Because it was a lot of in the past, oh, I can just find someone else. And it's like, no, you can't now.
A lot of people, like right now, a lot of people aren't indispensable. Not to like toot my own horn or whatever, but if they were to like if I were to quit or if they were to fire me, they could try all they want, but I'm pretty sure that the next person that they train to fill my position won't be as great as me. So yeah, not everybody's indispensable.
No, and I mean, like, I don't even know if I can talk about it, but I'll vaguely. I mean, some stuff went down with my job last week. Um, and it kind of showed me a new side of my company just because everybody has that impression, HR is, and it is true. 90% of the time, HR is only there for the company to save the money. They're not there for the employees. They don't, most companies don't care about you and everything. And that is very true. You are just a number to them. But I was definitely like, me myself, like under that impression, like, I am disposable. I'm not needed. If something were to happen, they can easily find someone else to fill my role and everything. But like after this whole situation went down and the conversations that I was having with like HR and legal and my supervisor and then the site director of my company, it was just a lot of like, this shouldn't have happened, and the fact that it did happen. is inexcusable, and that's not the culture we're trying to continue and, strengthen and everything. And it was just like a lot of like, and at first I was like, are you doing this because you don't want me to like retaliate? Not that I would, because I was kind of shocked about 90% of that conversation. And I'm like, it's really not that bad, guys. Chill.
Hmm.
But I do know too, like, they were just like, no, like, our job is to protect you, and we failed at that. And I'm just like, did y'all, like, is this a case of the body snatchers? Like, who y'all is? Like, what do you mean?
Hmm.
Okay. But, that's where it ended. But it's definitely, there's a lot that needs to be discussed. And there's a lot of conversations that are being, I love how this episode is completely devolved. But
Yeah.
there's a,
We went from ghost to true crime
you
to
know,
labor.
I almost died. I'm having an epiphany right now.
It's all right.
Um, but no, there's a lot to be discussed, and I definitely think, at least like future of this podcast specifically, there is a lot of conversations that I want to have, and there's a lot of stories that I want to tell because I believe that those deserve to be immortalized. Even though I know some of them, there's a lot of people who have talked about these stories and these situations, but I still feel at the end of the day, like, it is my belief that you're only forgotten once people stop talking about you. Kind of like in
Are you gonna say
Coco.
Coco?
Listen, I had this belief before that movie was made, okay? They stole it from my brain. It's the FBI agent. They're watching me again. But no, and that movie, I 100%. I think they really did something beautiful with that. But it is my belief, the second that you're stopped being talked about or thought about, or the last physical memory of you gets destroyed, there is nothing for you. I think that's why there are a lot of spirits still within, and I'm bringing, I see full circle. I think that's why there's a lot of, spirits in this world, and a lot of unfinished business for them, because there are people still holding on to them, whether it be a generational thing where, you have really old spirits, but their memories get passed down to generation, so they just stay here because they are being remembered and they are being memorialized forever in the next person that you can talk to them about and everything. And I'm like, I don't think that they all have bad intentions. I do think that what people call like evil spirits definitely attributes to the way that they lived, and everything, and the whole vengefulness, depending on the situation of how they passed, or if they were evil people, that does give some strength in the afterlife kind of thing, or whatever afterlife that there is. But there's got to be some truth to a lot of what people experience. You can't have hundreds of thousands of people experiencing similar situations or the same thing. We're not hive minds. We're not all like one train of consciousness. And you can always dispute too the conspiracy theory that we live in a simulation, and it makes sense as to why so many people have similar experiences and everything. But
Mhm.
if you're not going to go into that, there's got to be some truth to it, on why people have these experiences, why there are legitimate paranormal researchers, why there are so many stories or so many cultures who are not exposed to other cultures early in our history and our ancestry and everything, that have documented proof and talks or readings about situations that we're experiencing now to this day. Like, there's no way that an ancient society had a spiritual encounter with something that is unexplainable because they somehow traveled to the future or someone traveled to the past kind of thing and told them about it, you know? There's got
Mhm.
to be something that connects that spirituality, whether you believe in a heaven or hell or reincarnation or whatever is that you believe in, or where people go after they die and everything. There has got to be something that connects all of that. And, you know, it could bring into the fact that, you know, discussions about parallel universes and the fact that there are parallel universes, at least I believe, because clearly we have not proven that. But, you know, it's not like it's parallel universes that are connected by a grid system. They are linear. That's why they are parallel. You know, they
Can I tell you
all.
something?
Mm,
Can I tell you something I believe in? I believe in dimension hopping because I'm pretty sure it's happened a few times to myself. Do you want me to elaborate? I'll elaborate.
proceed.
So there have been a couple of times where somebody has I've like had a conversation with somebody in this case I'll say my mom. I'll have a conversation with my mom and I'll tell her something specific. I'll be like I'll be like A, B, and C,
Uh-huh.
right? I come back to it, or literally like 2 seconds later, I'm like talking about it again, and she's like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? You never told me that." And it's not just because she's getting old, okay? It's not just that. But like she legit doesn't remember. And I don't know. Maybe maybe it's like you said, it can be a glitch in the matrix. I don't
Right.
know.
See, here's
But
my only argument, and this is only because I personally know you. You have a lot of memory issues, and that's a genetic thing. The dogs are barking.
is he good?
No,
Is he dying?
he wants to go outside, but he's an asshole and cannot exist with anybody else.
Damn, I thought
Um,
he missed me.
no.
Yeah.
But no, I'm pretty sure that's a genetic thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if God Christ. If it is a situation that you're forgetting that you told your mom something or you think no time has passed and then you strike up the similar conversation and she doesn't remember it because a lot of more time has passed than you think. Because we've had conversations where you have literally told me something, forgot you told me something, so you decided to share it again like it's new information. Same thing with Patty, like, or I'll tell you guys something and then like 10, 15 minutes go by and then I'm like, oh yeah, so anyway, continuing about that thing, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never had this conversation with you. And I'm like, really? Really? It's been 10 minutes. Come on. Like, really? So, you know, I do believe in or dimension hopping, but in your case,
But you think I just suck at my memory.
I think it's just a memory issue for you because, again, love you to death. The brain cells aren't all there.
I like how Monty's ear is just in the background, like just
Yes.
right there.
He's standing on the ledge of the couch,
Hmm.
but which also,
I mean, it could be both. It could it
I
Nice
mean,
little
it could be
introduction to your
both.
dog.
Yeah, right. It could be a situation where there is someone manipulating the timelines and they're using your memory as a way to do this. But the likelihood, I just, I guess my viewpoint on it is why you, and not that you're not important, but you don't have any
Significant, not really like
like
major
yeah,
significance.
there is no historical significance in your life that would be a cause for them to be doing this. If there are like higher powers or whatever, like it doesn't make sense to me as to why they would interfere like that. Bro, you good? Like, you're mad that I haven't invited you to the podcast? Like, what? Dude, you're pushing the chair, which means you're going to fall. Can you please get back on the couch? Come on. Just lay down. Just lay down. Just lay. Oh, don't hit your head on the table. I don't have money to take you to the vet. I'm like holding him at bay, like I'm barricading myself. No, go lay down. Shoe fly, you're bothering me.
Go throw it a chew toy or
I
something.
don't have any toys nearby.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't have anything near me. No, get off the chair. Lay down, my dude. Anyway, I don't know where else we can go with this conversation. It's very much devolved.
It is what it is.
I mean, that's what makes our podcast.
So unique. So
Yeah,
unique.
I was gonna say unique, or I wasn't gonna say unique. I was just gonna say not boring.
I
I think I'll call it though, because I don't know what to talk about. And if we keep going on this conversation, I will never shut up, and I'm not editing that.
You think I want to go through the transcript?
Listen, this is a codependent relationship.
I know.
Besides, Monty probably needs to go outside, and if I don't
Probably.
take him soon, he will eat my toes. Not really, but I have a feeling one day. He'll be like, you can't take me outside. Now you can never walk again. And I'm like, then we'll never go outside. But okay. But
Well,
thanks for
have.
joining to this hellscape.
Oh, never mind. All
No,
right.
go ahead. I was just saying thank you. I wasn't ending it yet.
I have the Falling Up book by Shel Silverstein, and I bought it at Costco like a year or two ago. I don't remember. It has like 12 new poems, and I've only read like 5 since I bought it, and I don't know. I just felt like sharing. Maybe one day we'll just end the pod. Maybe like every once in a while, we'll just end the podcast with the poem.
I think we would get copywritten.
Damn it. But would you though? Because there are a lot of people out there who recite poetry or recite, like, read books or whatever.
Yeah, but
With our
usually they don't read very popular authors' books.
You're right. And you know what? With my luck, I'd get sued.
I mean, we might not because we're not making money off of this, but I'm not risking it. YouTube's a fickle bitch.
You're right. Anyways,
I can just go big red delete button and we'll lose everything because I don't save any of these videos.
we'll ask Jocelyn to just like recite everything back to us.
Right? Has it committed to memory? All right. Well, thank you again for joining this hellscape of an episode. Sorry, we have literally horrible episodes the last 2 times. They're not great, but we appreciate you sticking around. Shout out to Priscilla for giving us information. Shout out to Jocelyn. She really tried to get everything sent over to us. She was actually gonna try and guest star, but the timing just didn't work out. So if she ends up getting anything to us, maybe we'll do something on one of the social medias and everything and share it that way before the spooky season ends. So hopefully before Sunday. But I live spooky season, so I'll post it when I want. But probably gonna dive into some true crime, some history based things for the next couple episodes. I have kind of a list and some research going and everything. So it'll mostly be me talking just because I am that person and I'm annoying and don't know when to shut up. But I do know that there's some other topics that we want to discuss and everything. So if there's anything specific or any specific like true crime, not story, but situation or any historical situation that you want us to talk about, or something pertaining to mental illness or LGBT. I know Alondra keeps asking me like I am Google about everything when it comes to that because she doesn't know how to use her own search engines.
I just think Gabe knows everything. That's not the case, but
Yeah, she likes to FaceTime me at like 12 o'clock at night to ask me questions and then goes, "Why aren't you sleeping?" Like, I don't know. Sorry I answered your call. Next time you call me and you're dying, I won't answer. But yeah, just let us know. To our whole 3 people that watch.
you don't know, they might have something that they want us to discuss.
It's possible. We've gotten one comment out of like
Hey, you
7
start
videos.
you start with one. You gotta start somewhere. You're not just gonna be like popular right
I
off the
guess
bat.
I just want to peer pressure everybody into commenting. Okay, I want comments. I love comments. I love
You know
reading
what we
people
should
think.
do? You know what we should do because Patty is so TikTok famous or whatever. Just
She
just
won't. I've already asked.
mm, I was yeah, just gonna ask her to guest star or whatever.
I don't
Not
think
do anything
anyone
else.
that follows her will care though. They follow her for like K-pop stuff.
You're right, you're right.
They won't care about us. Oh, you know what I can do? I can delve into the logistics of how Hybe went public because I know a lot of people were confused about that. And I did my own research and learned way more about the freaking Korean stock market than I know about the American stock market. And I live in that. So,
You can educate me about the Korean stock market. Nice.
got you because, it's not like I'm doing anything else in my life. I have 3 friends. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the end of this very long and unnecessarily long ending message. Have a nice night. And if you see ghosts, let me know. I like hearing about it. I like knowing people are scared.
Bye.
Bye. Why doesn't it ever stop when I want it to?